Well, real quick, why don't we end on this note?
Okay.
John Cena was naked at the Oscars, apparently. I didn't watch the Oscars, but enough people were talking about it and sending it around. Here he is, your boy from OVW, hit the big time, not just at the Oscars, but naked at the Oscars. Even The Rock hasn't gotten a chance to do that yet. And he was there too. What are your thoughts on Cena at the Oscars?
Well, not only The Rock went to the Oscars, but Rock and Cena went to the Oscars. And as we mentioned, the Buckaroos went to the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards. They had a banquet at a Denny's in Reseda. But the bit was, and I understand that it was hilarious. I saw it live because Stacy loves the Oscars. Every year she makes well, they used to call it, cheese and cold cut platter, but now it's the charcuterie. And she gets the wine glass and the cold cuts and the cheeses and the dips and the little fancy, cups and utensils and everything. And she watches the Oscars. And I said, well, Rock's going to be on there. Didn't know about Cena. I said, I'll try to see if I can muddle through some of this while I'm paying half attention to that and doing something else. But then here comes Cena. And the deal was, I guess it was the 50th anniversary of the streaker at the Oscars, right? You've seen the footage.
Of course, yeah.
Even though you weren't alive at that point. And for the younger kids, streaking in the early 70s was popular when somebody would take their clothes off and run out on the field, a football game or baseball game, or they run through the produce section of the supermarket, wherever it was, naked. They were streaking. And it was even the big hit song by Ray Stevens, not the wrestler Ray Stevens, but the country star Ray Stevens. Made number. Oh, yes, they call him the Streak. He's the fastest thing on 2 feet. He's just as proud of he can be of his anatomy. He gonna give us a peek. It was streaking is what it was, see? And they did it at the Oscars, and it was, we come to find out later on, right, it was a setup deal. And it was David Niven was there in a tuxedo, and a guy runs across stage, and blah, blah, blah. So as they're talking about this, Brian, I know you didn't see it. You're too jaded for the Oscars. I don't know who any of these people are anymore, to be quite honest with you, and not motivated to find out most of them. As they mentioned that, then all of a sudden, who was it presenting the goddamn thing? I can't even remember now. It doesn't matter. But Cena peeks out from behind the set there, and he goes, are you sure we need to do this? They're doing a takeoff on it. Oh, yeah, he's going to present the award for best costume, but the rib is he's naked. He has no costume on. And what he's got is the big awards envelope, and the winner is, he's got that held in front of his crotch. So you can see this visual as he's they talk him into coming out. So he's going to come out and present to you. There's no podium. So as he sideways walks across with the big envelope in front of his crotch, and he's doing the sheepish thing, and Cena's good at that. He's fucking good at embarrassing himself on purpose for fucking entertainment. He gets out in the middle of the stage, and he realizes that he can't. He's like, dude, I can't open the envelope. I can't read the winner because I can't open the envelope. And blah, blah, and it was a funny bit, right? And the audience is cracking the fuck up. And by the way, if you look like John Cena does naked, why would you ever want to wear clothes in front of anybody? It's ridiculous. And so then they go on about the deal and present the award and blah, blah, blah. And come to find out, from the next day or two or whatever, I saw with a news piece, he wasn't really naked holding the goddamn, just an envelope in front of him. They put like the flesh colored pouch over his flying squirrel and had him taped up the back so you couldn't see crack or anything. And then so it was the illusion of, anyway, because this is television. But I guess did people just go out of their fucking minds that he was somehow the victim of some kind of conspiracy plot?
I don't know about people. I mean, I haven't seen too much of this, but I did see something.
Maybe just bots on Twitter?
Well, someone sent something, and the context that they sent it to me was Chris Jericho's wife retweeted this, apparently.
Oh, boy.
It is something from an account, Daily Loud. Andrew Tate says John Cena doing his humiliation ritual to satisfy his, and this is in quotes, gay paymasters at the Oscars. And I would have to think that the gay paymasters must be happy right about now.
So many questions. so many things I've got to. Andrew Tate.
By the way, there's another funny one here, real quick. Candace Owens tweeted out, "Who would you guys like to see me have on the podcast as a guest?" And Jericho's wife replied, "Chris Jericho." So she's doing his fan work too.
But no, Andrew Tate, and I swear to God, every time I hear that name, for whatever reason, I mentally confuse him with the boxer from East Tennessee years ago, Big John Tate. And I'm like, Andrew Tate, what's he got to do with it? But Andrew Tate is apparently some type of, as they say across the pond, a sex pest that has been, international authorities have either been looking for him or did they pick him up? I only know peripherally his story.
Me too. But I don't know too much about him.
He's not somebody apparently that you would want to be emulating.
No, not in any way.
And he's saying that Cena had to do that skit on the Oscars, which is clearly the kind of shit that Cena gets a tickle out of. Because the people that the studio heads, I thought the rib of the studio heads were all supposed to be Jewish back in the day. Now they're all gay. I thought the stars were supposed to be gay, and the studio heads were supposed to be Jewish. Who's paying who here?
He's talking about who controls Hollywood, and I have here a tweet from John Cena. I'd like to say thank you to David Geffen for the check for $30 million. So obviously the gay paymasters have been satisfied. Good going, Mr. Cena. No, this is completely ridiculous. He did a goofy skit at the Oscars because John Cena's been doing goofy skits. You can find John Cena like this probably at a TGI Fridays in Louisville 20 years ago. It's not a big deal to him, but according to someone who knows nothing halfway across the world, he was satisfying his gay paymasters.
See, that's the thing. And these, even if you're a Republican, I say that word and try to not get a bad taste in my mouth, but you have to be a really special kind of just stupid motherfucker to believe this bullshit, especially coming from this guy that, did I mention, international authorities were looking for him, and I've heard something about sex trafficking involved with this guy. And we may look him up by the time the experience rolls around, but nevertheless, this is the kind of shit that Jericho's wife is retweeting, aka advocating, is that we should actually take this drivel seriously as adult human beings with fucking brains? Brains that we use, not that we eat.
Well, that's the only outrage I've really seen is whatever's happening in that world over there. The creative outrage community, I guess. They just create outrage out of nothing, and other people believe it. That's the crazy thing. Wish we had that kind of power.
Well, but you know what we've got, don't you?
What's that?
The power of the people.
Yes, we do.
We ought to make a gimmick out of that, like people power.
Let's not do that. That was
nobody's ever done that before, have they?
Only an alleged pervert.
Oh well, I guess alleged. Trademark. We need to stay away from that thing.
Hey, what's Cena going to say the next time he sees Jericho? The next time Jericho's begging for work in 5 years or so.
Yeah. Tell your wife that my gay paymasters gave me a raise for that.
Would she be saying the same thing if Chris's acting career had ever taken off? That the gay paymasters were behind it or something?
Well, no, because then she would have had to reveal that Jericho was a victim of the casting couch.
All right, well...
And he's already been abducted and probed by aliens. We don't want him to have to...
On an old country road.
On an old country road. We don't want to have him suffering the slings and indignities of other people's arrows. I don't know where that was going.
Neither do I, but congratulations, John Cena, on your mainstream acceptance from appearing nude at the Oscars. You know what? People know who he is. He is, I have to say, he is the name that people know from the modern era that aren't wrestling fans. They know who John Cena is. And this is one of the reasons why. They know who he is.
He can do everything. and is willing to.